If you didn't know, iPad prices have went up quite a bit recently by $100 or more, but should you save your money and go with a tablet that looks and feels like an iPad mini, but at a fourth of the price from Walmart? Well, let's talk about it. As far as price goes, it's only $138 for the On 8.1-inch tablet versus $599 for the iPad mini. One downside to the On tablet is it only comes with 64 gigabytes of storage versus 128 for the iPad mini. One advantage for the On tablet is it can take a micro SD card to expand the storage, but then with the iPad you have several different storage options to choose from. There's a SIM card version as well. Even though you could buy 4 of these On tablets for less than the price of one iPad mini, I gotta say it's actually pretty nice build quality. You can see the display sizes and shapes are very similar between these two, with the On tablet being a tad smaller. It's got an 8.1-inch IPS LCD display at 1000 by 1524 resolution, where the iPad mini has an 8.3-inch IPS LCD display at 1488 by 2266 resolution. The iPad mini is also brighter, 500 nits versus 350 for the Walmart tablet. Surprisingly, the cheaper On tablet has the higher 90Hz refresh rate versus 60Hz on the iPad. I feel like in actual use, the iPad is actually smoother than you would think. Even though the iPad mini does seem to have the better display quality, I think most people will be surprised at how good the On tablet looks in person considering the price, especially if you're just watching YouTube videos or streaming apps like Netflix. The On tablet screen quality is going to be good enough for most things like that. Even though the Walmart tablet is smaller, it actually lasted 7.5 hours versus 6 hours for the iPad mini in my typical battery drain test at 100% screen brightness. Of course, with the iPad being brighter, once you turn that down, it's probably going to be a lot closer when it comes to battery life. You also get faster charging speeds with the iPad mini at 20 watts versus 15 watts for the On tablet. The software on these two are obviously quite a bit different, but they do have some similarities, especially if you put it on gesture navigation for the On tablet. You can even see once you change the wallpaper to be the same as the iPad mini, it's going to look even closer. The On tablet's pretty close to being stock Android. You can do some multitasking with split screen and floating windows as well. To me, the iPad is going to look and feel very similar to most other iPads out there. Both of these are nice options for reading because of the smaller size, but then I feel like the iPad mini definitely has some extras, like you've got the fingerprint scanner there on the power button or a Touch ID, which you don't get with the Walmart tablet. In fact, with the On tablet, you only get pattern, PIN, or password. There's no face unlock or fingerprint scanner at all. Another advantage for the iPad is it has video out, so you can use an HDMI adapter to connect to a TV, projector, or external monitor, where you don't get that with the On tablet. The iPad mini also has pen support to draw, take notes, and those types of things. Of course, at an extra cost, since that's not included. One big advantage with the iPad mini is it's going to get at least 5 years of software updates or more versus only 1 year of major software updates and 3 years security updates for the Walmart tablet. Another big advantage for the iPad is when it comes to performance, it's got the A17 Pro chip versus Snapdragon 685 processor in the On tablet, and then you've got 6 gigabytes of RAM for the On 8.1-inch tablet versus 8 gigabytes in the iPad mini. I think both of these are good options when it comes to gaming, since it's easier to reach things on the screen. Obviously, it's going to depend on what games you're playing, where with the iPad you can play pretty much any game out there, or it's going to be somewhat limited for the On tablet, or it's just going to be at lower graphics and frame rate settings. You no longer have a headphone jack on the Walmart tablets, just like the iPad. And while both of these have one speaker on each side, I feel like the quality of sound is a little better on the iPad, but still nice and loud on the Walmart tablet. Here's a quick sample of each, just to give you an idea of how they sound. Now when it comes to cameras, these two really aren't that close. The iPad mini has a 12 megapixel camera on the front and 12 megapixel on the back versus 5 megapixel on the back of the On tablet with only 2 megapixel on the front, which is barely usable. You can also record up to 4K resolution on the iPad versus 1080p for the On tablet. Here's a few quick samples of photo and video just to give you an idea of how they compare. So yeah, for photo and video quality, the iPad mini is going to be the obvious choice. And as you can see, definitely some advantages to go with the more expensive iPad mini. I think it just comes down to what you're looking for, because the iPad mini has better performance, it's got video out, plus it has pen support and a fingerprint scanner. Just a lot of extras that I feel like makes it feel more premium. But if you just want the look and feel of an iPad mini and you don't really need all those extras, say you just want to use this for reading and streaming videos, movies, that kind of thing, I think the On tablet might be worth looking at, especially considering it's about a fourth of the price now of the iPad mini. So definitely pretty tempting in my opinion. If you like tablets, phones, and other tech, I've got a lot more comparisons that I'm working on as usual, plus some new tablets on the way as well. So you'll want to keep an eye out for those upcoming videos. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from Fishbee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.